Downloading data is essential when it comes to testing strategies or just comparing two stocks. You wish for current market data, and best case, it should be free. We are lucky that we live in a time where data is all around us. Python offers an easy way to download market data right through an API. We will use the API of Yahoo Finance, which provides market data for stocks like Apple, Forex rate like the Euro to USD exchange rate, and even cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. As Yahoo Finance offers a website too, we can easily compare our data with the source of data. It is easy to use, and with a couple of lines of code, you will have the data in your notebook. There's no signing up needed, and it's completely free, and even intraday data can be fetched for the day traders under us. So let's go and jump into the coding. We are now on the Yahoo Finance website, and I opened the information about Apple. Here we can already see that we can download the price data later on. I opened the max chart for now. You can also open the 1 month or even the intraday data. On the left, you can see more information about Apple, for example, their market cap, their beta, or their PE ratio. The second website we want to look into is the documentation of the package we use later on. Here we can already see, before you can use the JFinance package, you have to pip install it on your device. Everything we do is well documented here, so if there are any questions, just go and look into that documentation. So now let's jump into our Jupyter Notebook and start downloading the data. The first thing we want to do is to actually import the package. So let me do a markdown here and say use JFinance to download price data. So like I said, the first thing we want to do is importing the package we need. That's the JFinance package we just looked into, and I call that JF. For later use, we also import pandas and run that for now. The first thing we want to do is to actually download the return data, the stock data of Apple. So if we go and we want to create a new data frame called AAPL, and we just call JF, the package, the JFinance package we just imported, and the command is download. And how do we know what to put in, like which ticker we have to put in? If you go back to the JFinance, you always see in the brackets what you want to download. So we just copy AAPL and put it into our ticker data. If we output that in the end, if we run that, we already see our loading progress. And I have a spelling mistake. We called it AAPL. And here we see our data frame. We see the 1980 to 2022. So with the single line of code, we basically downloaded the stock data for Apple. It's also possible to download two stocks at the same time. You just have to put it in the quotation marks here. If you want to pull Tesla with it, now you can see you have adjusted close for Apple and Tesla, close for Apple, Tesla, and so on. So let's go back to the Apple example. Whenever you pull data, you get the same columns. You get open, high, low, close, adjusted close, and volume. That's the columns you always get. So now that we see we have 1980 to 2022, maybe we don't want all of that. Maybe we want to reduce our data to a specific start and end date. That's also no problem. We can just put it at the start date when we want to say we want to start in 2019, 1st of January, and we want to end in, let's say, end of 2021. So 2021, 12/31. You have to pay attention that it is that you put it in the right format. So it's year, month, day. If we run that now, we can see now we start in 2019 and our last row is in 2021. So as we expected it to be. The next thing we have to do, or we can do, is loading intraday data. That's pretty cool. So like we say, so here in that chart, we can actually download the intraday data for Apple. So just for comparison, let me import our date and current time. So import, do from date time, import date time, and to get the current time, we put print datetime.now. If we want that, we see it's the 3rd of February and it's currently 3 p.m. or 3 p.m. and 8 minutes. So now we want to download intraday data. So if I download that, we can just call it intra, for example, and just call it like before, gf.download. We want Apple again. And instead of putting a start and the end date, we can put a period. Why do we have to put a period? The period or the intraday data is only possible if your period is smaller than 60 days. So you want to put something smaller than 60 days in here. Let's, for example, take only the last day. So basically today. And now we want to specify our interval. Our interval is exactly what we want to do. We have the options of 1 minute, 5 minutes, 30 minutes. There's a lot of options you can check on the documentation again. So for me, I want the 5-minute charts right now. So if I want that, we now see it's 3:09, and of course I have to output the data frame. So it's 3:09 now, and we see our latest line is actually 3:09. So we have a lag of less than 5 seconds at that point. So it's pretty cool to download intraday data with the lag of less than 5 seconds. Like said before, Yahoo Finance also offers the option to download cryptocurrencies and normal currency exchange rates. So again, what we want to do is we want to look into the ticker. So if I want to do Bitcoin, we already see it is something like with BTC USD. So if I copy that and jump back into my data frame or into my Jupyter notebook and do the same again. So BTC equals jf dot download, and now we put what we just copy pasted, BTC USD, and we can just put the start date. We want it from 2020 January 1st. So you see, we can just load it and show it. So here we see we have 765 rows starting January 1st. No problem. And the same holds for the, let's do the Euro to USD exchange rate. Okay, so Euro USD exchange rate. Here we are. Sometimes it doesn't, like it did for me, it doesn't pop up at the first place. So maybe just Google what is the Euro to USD ticker at Yahoo Finance. So we copy pasted that, and instead of the Bitcoin, we want the Euro USD exchange rate, run that. And we see now we have the Euro to USD exchange rate in that data frame. So no problem downloading exchange rates and Bitcoin, which is like cryptocurrency data. The last thing we want to look into is that part of Yahoo Finance. If we go back to Apple, it is also possible at Yahoo Finance to show financials of that company. So if I go into the financial section, we see that we have an income statement, a balance sheet, and a cash flow statement here. So for example, the total assets, total liabilities, and so on. Yahoo Finance also offers the option to download these. So if I do a new markdown and say download financial data, and let's code that. To download financial data, we need one more line of code. We have to create a ticker for our stock first. So if I do jf.ticker, and now we do AAPL again. If we run that, we created our ticker. With that ticker, now we can download the financials, we can download the balance sheet, and so on. So the first thing we have to do, or we maybe want to look into, is a info. The info just gives us general information about the company. So if I put Yahoo for Apple, the info, run that, you see it's taking a little longer now to download. And if I now print the info, we see we get a list here. That's not looking too good, so let's try to get that into a data frame. So we just do PD data frame, and we want that info we just created, and we take info.items, and our columns should be KPI and value. If we print that, we don't need the brackets here. No, we need items, sorry. Now we get a data frame, and the first argument, for example, is the zip code of Apple. And you see you have like 152 information items about the Apple stock or the Apple company in general. Now we want to download financial data. So again, we can just go AAPL.financials. And here we see it's already coming in a nice data frame. So we always get the last 4 dates, or last 4 years in that case. And that's the same you see here on the website of Yahoo Finance. So you just get the same you see on the website, you get into your Jupyter Notebook here. It's also possible to download that quarterly. There you just put quarterly financials, and now you see you get the last 4 quarters. To get the balance sheet data, we just call balance sheet, for example. And you see now we get the last 4 years of balance sheet data from Apple. So in general, you see it's pretty easy to download. First, we did stock data. That was like 1 line of code. And here we downloaded balance sheet data or financial data. And that was like 2 lines of code after creating that ticker argument. In general, it's super easy to use that JFinance library. Like I said, just look into the documentation, and it's all for free. You don't have to pay anything. The service is completely free. And now that we have the data, we can just create our strategies. We can look into the data, whatever we want to do with it.